Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Armored Darkseid action figure. This guy from Zack Snyder's Justice League. He's from the end of the film. Earlier in the film, he was there, but he had no armor, sort of that skinny look. And at the end, when Steppenwolf got killed and they threw his head toward Darkseid, he was there in his full armored gear. This guy is a Target exclusive. I believe originally he was supposed to be some sort of San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but since they didn't have that, those figures are being available at Walmart and Target. This is the first gold label figure I've ever seen available at Target. They've all been Walmart exclusives so far. This guy does come with his staff or spear. He comes with a display stand and a collector's card. Funny story about this guy. He went up for pre-order at Target.com, and I was sleeping. When I woke up, I saw it over Instagram, and he was already sold out. I was very disappointed. I ended up pre-ordering one from Zavi. It's a UK site. He's not a Target exclusive overseas. You can get him pretty easily. I did that as a backup. I went into the Target store and gave him a couple of DCPI numbers so they could punch it in and tell me when it's coming in. When I pulled up the Armored Darkseid page on their app, it said he was in stock. I hurried, went ahead and grabbed one, and he was sold out as soon as I was done. So I assume Target tried to charge somebody's card, it didn't go through, and they canceled his order. And to my fortune, I got this guy today. Very pleased. Able to cancel my order from Zavi and get a refund. Exactly like I hoped it would happen. I do have the other version of Darkseid, but this is the one I wanted. This is the superior version. Sure, it's from the DC Cinematic Universe, but it's going to double up as a comic version of Darkseid as well. So let's check out the packaging here. As you can see at the top, McFarlane Gold Label Collection, DC Multiverse Darkseid Armored from Zack Snyder's Justice League. In the package, got one accessory, the collector's card, display stand. One side, Darkseid Armored from Justice League. Other side, somebody says Darkseid Armored. Kind of odd. You'd think they'd say Armored Darkseid, but whatever. At the bottom, bunch of credits, and there is a barcode, in case that helps anybody. And on the back side, here's Darkseid without the armor on, in sort of a black and white photo. And here are a bunch of other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures you should check out. So with no further ado, let's get this bad boy open. Alright, now that we have this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He does come with a display stand, a collector's card, and then his spear or staff. But before we take a look at the accessories, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is the Armored Darkseid from Zack Snyder's Justice League. He had a very brief appearance like this near the end of the film. I've seen a lot of people online saying they're going to use the unarmored Darkseid for Uxas. That was his identity before he fully became Darkseid. And then this armored version they're going to use for Darkseid. It's a pretty cool idea, and then justifies the extra variant. So let's take a look at him. He looks very similar to the comic sort of style Darkseid, a little bit more modernized. He's got that sort of rocky gray skin. His eyes are sunken in, black around them. The eyes themselves are white. He's got that very stern expression on his mouth. He's got this blue sort of headgear, reminiscent of the comics. The texturing on his skin is good. I mean, look at the sculpting detail there. His armor, he's got this Darkseid logo here. The armor itself is made of a rubbery material. Really like the way his skin looks. It does look like he has double jointed elbows. Going further down, this little sort of skirt thing, his armor, very flexible, it's going to move out of the way pretty easily. Looks like single jointed knees. Overall, very good looking figure. This is the one I was waiting for. This can work for your comic Darkseid, a very modern, pretty good looking version. I do like the unarmored Darkseid, but this is way better. And then, just a closer look at his face. I think that it came out very nice. What do you guys think? Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start with the boring stuff. So he comes with a McFarlane display stand, and it's just a regular stand, the same for the Megafigures as it is for the regular figures. Black perfect circle, says DC at the bottom, got one peg for the peg holes on his feet, very thin, very basic. Now let's take a look at his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Darkseid from Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's actually the unarmored version pictured here, and it's done in black and white. Darkseid armored from Justice League. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Here's the armored Darkseid's collector's card on the left, next to the unarmored Darkseid's collector's card on the right. They're the same image, just the unarmored is in color. Really don't get why McFarlane couldn't have just put an image of the armored Darkseid from the film on there. And then we have his staff or spear. It's exactly the same as the one that came with the unarmored version. It's got sort of 4 of these prongs at the top. Looks pretty good. A ton of sculpting detail on the blade, and a lot of detail on the handle as well. As we go down, you can see where you're supposed to grip it. And it's got another blade on the bottom. Pretty nice. Here's Darkseid holding the spear. He really only has one appropriate gripping hand for it. But if you wanted to, you could have him holding like this, sort of simulating holding with 2 hands. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's sitting at about 9.3 inches tall. Pretty big figure. That's going to translate to about 23.5 centimeters. And now let's look at his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. It can look up about that far, down about that far. Pretty impressive. It can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint. Goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He does not have that signature McFarlane butterfly joint. He's got a bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows that go all the way back. His wrists, it can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. He does have a double ball joint, one in his torso, one in his waist. The one in his torso you really can't do a whole lot with. You can go forward and back a little bit, can rotate around, but not very much. The bottom can go forward and back quite a bit, rotate around. Pretty good range of motion, especially for a figure of this size. Legs, they go about this far. Not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. Rotation is very impressive. Then go forward about that far. Back, not too much. Single jointed knees, go back about this far. Now, he doesn't have a boot cut, but you can rotate the armor. He does have rotation in the knee, as you can see there. Ball on his ankle, goes forward and back. Can rotate, can tilt and rock, and he has toe articulation. I had a hard time freeing this up. Had to heat him up with some boiling water to get the tilting to work, but it works on both the feet now. So here's the armored Darkseid next to the first unarmored release. I was curious if there are any sculpting differences besides the obvious simple armor on top of the torso, and there sure is. This guy, I've seen him referred to as skinny Darkseid. He looks like he's been malnourished. This guy's torso is considerably bigger. I've actually seen people on Instagram take the armor off, and he looks very nice on the inside. I personally am not going to do that. Kind of makes me want to track down another armored Darkseid, but I really have no need for a third one of these guys. As you can see, his chest kind of sunken in, pretty skinny. And then this guy here, chest kind of puffed out, and it's hard. You cannot push in here. It is definitely sculpted out a whole lot more. Here's Darkseid on his homeworld Apocalypse. I'm using this Super 7 He-Man Masters of the Universe Snake Mountain playset as a background for Apocalypse. Here's Steppenwolf kneeling before his lord and master, telling him he believes he's found the anti-life equation and he will bring it to him to make up for that mistake all those years ago. And Darkseid quickly finds out that Steppenwolf has failed at retrieving the mother boxes. Darkseid decides to assemble his parademon army, and his thirst for the anti-life equation knows no bounds. Those were not enough parademons. More, he demands. More! No, I said more! And it looks like Darkseid has finally amassed his parademon army and is ready to go claim his anti-life equation. And Darkseid finds out that Steppenwolf has failed at getting him his mother boxes. That is where he's going to have to start. Darkseid now has the mother boxes and will succeed where Steppenwolf failed. onto Earth to claim his anti-life equation. And Darkseid had such an easy time getting the mother boxes. He feels like there's no one to stand in his way between him taking over Earth and getting the anti-life equation. No one but these guys. They stand, the Six United. The Justice League are willing to defend the Earth with their very lives. They will throw whatever they have to stop Darkseid. Now let's check them out. Next is some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's the armored version of Darkseid, next to the unarmored version. I definitely prefer the armored version times 10. Here are all the different Megafigures McFarlane has made so far. We've got Steppenwolf, both versions of Darkseid, and then King Shark. Rumor is the next Megafigure is going to be Swamp Thing, and there's going to be a variation as well. Of course, there's also going to be the Spawn Violator coming out, but that's not the McFarlane DC Multiverse line. And here he is, next to all the different Build-A-Figures McFarlane has made. A Build-A-Figure requires 4 figures to get the pieces and put them together. They're usually larger figures. A Megafigure is pretty much the same thing as a Build-A-Figure, but it's pre-assembled and you just buy the figure by itself for about $40. Rumor is the next Build-A-Figure wave is going to be a Dark Knight Returns theme, and presumably the Build-A-Figure is going to be the Mutant Leader. Meanwhile, we're also still building the Batman Joker robot from Future's End. Here's my entire collection of Zack Snyder's Justice League McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Still missing that last variation of Batman. And rumor is there's an upcoming New York Comic Con exclusive Speed Force Flash. Then, here he is next to the recently released The Suicide Squad wave. And in case you were wondering how he fit in with some of the other McFarlane DC heroes, here's a bunch of comic Rebirth heroes. He looks great next to them, both scale and style-wise. Here he is, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. And now, here's this armored Darkseid next to a DC Direct DC Icons Darkseid. It's a very large, oversized Darkseid figure, and I wanted at least one Darkseid like that. He's from the comics. Here's Darkseid and his daughter Grail. Then, next to a comic Desaad. Desaad was featured in Zack Snyder's Justice League. He was the one that was communicating between Steppenwolf and Darkseid. Now let's check him out, next to some Parademons from the Justice League film. They released 5 different types in the 6-inch scale, and I bought 6 of each type, totaling 30 Parademons. This is the best kind right here. This is from Mattel's DC Multiverse line. This is a Toys R Us exclusive. This guy looks the best, has the best articulation, and is the tallest of the bunch. A little bit too short for McFarlane figures, but it's definitely fudgeable if you're not picky. And here are some Mattel basic Justice League Parademons. These are also 6-inch scale, a little bit smaller and a little bit less articulated, but still pretty cool for army building. Then, next is some more Mattel basic Justice League Parademons. These are a simple repaint into gray, and it works pretty good. And here are some Mattel basic Parademons. They're also gray. They're from the Justice League talking line. You would press on their chest and they would have a few different phrases they'd say. And they have some sensors so they would interact and say different things when next to the other talking heroes. And then, here's my final set of Parademons. These are some Mattel basic blue Parademons. They came in a 2-pack with an armored Batman. I believe it was a Walmart exclusive. These are my least favorite because the color scheme is the least movie accurate. And it's a straight up repaint of the other Parademons. They do have some different wings and accessories though. And speaking of some larger, oversized deluxe figures, and I'm a sucker for those types of figures. Figures that are giant, but still fit in with your 6 or 7-inch collection. Here he is with a bunch of Mattel large figures. These are all Build-A-Figures. We've got Killer Croc, Clayface, King Shark, and Solomon Grundy. And here's Darkseid next to some DC Direct large oversized figures. These figures are all from the Arkham franchise. We've got Solomon Grundy, Clayface, Titan Joker, and Killer Croc. As far as DC figures goes, I don't think anyone has matched these size figures in this type of scale. Now let's check them out. next to some action figures from different various companies to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. Even though this guy's quite a bit larger, he's still intended to go with 7-inch figures. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect and work my way smaller. Here he is, next to some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys. These are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jakks-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 cloth soft goods action figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures, and he would fit in really nice with them as well. And here, next to some Megafig figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, this is a fantastic figure. I definitely prefer this version to the unarmored Darkseid. This one can double up as a comic Darkseid with the rest of your McFarlane DC figures, and he can also be Darkseid from the end of the film when he was at his peak of power. This guy's accessory is pretty cool, the staff is nicely done, his articulation is good, could be a little bit better. I mean, I'd like to have double jointed knees, but this guy can move and hit a ton more poses than I would have ever expected. His sculpt and paint job are excellent. I see no issues with the paint job. The sculpt is great. The texture on his skin, the sort of rocky feel to it, very well done. If I were to rate this guy, I'd give him a very solid 8.5 out of 10. Another home run for McFarlane. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.